he desperately needed: society. In some ways, failed Dahmer just as it failed his victims. The mental health system was not equipped to deal with individuals like Dahmer, who exhibited dangerous behavior but did not fit into the typical categories of violent offenders. He was able to manipulate people and hide his darker tendencies from others, which made it difficult for authorities to recognize the potential for violence. For the ethics of justice and Dahmer's death in prison, another ethical dilemma that arose in the aftermath of Dahmer's conviction was the nature of justice. Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in prison, but his time behind bars would be short-lived. In 1994, just 2 years into his sentence, Dahmer was murdered by a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, while working in the prison gym. Dahmer's death in prison raises an interesting ethical question. Was it a form of justice? Was Scarver's attack a result of retribution? Or was it simply a random act of violence? For many, Dahmer's death was seen as the end of a horrific chapter, an end to a man who had caused so much suffering. However, others argue that execution or life in prison would have been a more fitting way to exact justice for the 17 lives he took. Dahmer's death also sparked debates about the justice system and capital punishment. While some believed his death was an appropriate form of punishment, others saw it as a missed opportunity for society to examine the full extent of his psychological breakdown and the systemic failures that allowed his crimes to continue unchecked for so long. 5. Media reaction and public perception of Dahmer. Media played a major role in shaping how the public viewed Dahmer after his arrest and throughout his trial. While Dahmer's crimes were undeniably horrific, the way the media portrayed him contributed to the notoriety of his name. He became the embodiment of the monstrous serial killer, a figure who simultaneously fascinated and repelled the public. Dahmer's image was often portrayed as that of the unassuming monster, a man who seemed completely normal but harbored a dark secret. This portrayal of Dahmer was both sensationalized and disturbing, turning his story into a media spectacle. The press coverage not only focused on the grisly details of his crimes, but also on his odd demeanor during the trial, where he often appeared detached, even apathetic to the gravity of his actions. The public's fascination with Dahmer's story was a reflection of society's morbid curiosity. With the darker aspects of human nature, people were captivated by his ability to blend in with society while secretly committing unimaginable crimes. Dahmer became, in many ways, a symbol of evil, and his name would live on as a cautionary tale about the dangers of psychological neglect and the terrifying potential that lies in the human psyche. Conclusion: the legacy of Jeffrey Dahmer